So it's been a little while that I've had the EP-133, and in the last video I did, we talked about, or we actually made a beat in the one sitting, just seeing what it's like, no manual, how easy is it to start making beats. And I mentioned in that I had some issues with some of the design choices, but I wanted to get into learning more about it, how it works and all that stuff. And so it's been 2 weeks since then, and I've had a lot of time because I've been making a lot of beats on here, and I find myself really liking it, but running into some design quirks that just don't gel with me. So today I wanted to talk about the good, the bad, and the weird with the EP-133, at least how I'm finding it now. And I really just want to kind of keep a journal here of what it's like. You know, we opened this EP-133 up, made a beat, no manual. Now after a couple weeks, how is it when we revisit it? What are there still concerns? Are there things I'm liking about it? What was really interesting was the comments in that video were so polarized. Half were saying how much they love it, and the other half were talking about how they sold it or it didn't fit with them, all kinds of stuff. So I found that really interesting, and I'm finding I find myself in the middle. I really like it because it's a lot of fun, but then there's certain things that are just odd. So let's just get into it, because I think as we go along, I'll be able to show you better what I like and what I don't like. And I think to start, we'll start with some drums. I've got these sounds, but one of the most awesome things I think is how quickly we can just change the drum sound or sample sounds. And oh yeah, I should say what's up to everybody in the chat. Let me know what you've been up to. If you've gotten any new samplers or trying some gear for the first time in a long time, let me know in the chat. Abby's here, says, what's up, Abby? How are you? And then BG White says, happy Saturday. Yeah, happy Saturday. What's going on? Thanks for joining. So we can just navigate all of the sounds. You can hear I've got some samples in there, but there's all kinds of kicks at the start. There's some pretty solid kicks in the stock sounds. And also, if you just hold something, you can press a number, and now you've got all these other sounds. And I haven't used any of the apps. Apparently there's tons of third-party apps, and there may even be an official app. I can't remember, but I'm all about right now just seeing what this is like by itself, like as it's intended to use. But I do want to check out some of these apps. But we've got those sounds, so I think we're going to do something a little faster. I've got this set to 126, kind of feeling that. So something I learned that's helpful is if you hit record and then hit shift play, it always starts on the 1 rather than where you're at normally. Otherwise, it just does where you're at while you were listening, like if you're at the second bar or second step. Oh yeah, let's check. I think this is set to 4 bars, so we'll do 4 bars. And metronome, if we hold tempo, we can adjust the metronome. I'll have the metronome on while I do the drums. I don't think there's a cue for the, like a cue monitor for the headphones. Maybe there are, but I don't think so. But anyways, I have the headphones in the SP, and this is going in the SP. So we'll just have to listen to the click track for a minute. See what that does. I have it on quantize. Okay, so that's a little off, right? So we could go in. I'm probably just going to redo it. I always like to just kind of get the first one, get get stretched and moved around and stuff. But we can go through every step and actually like delete things. So we can find, oh, okay. There was some hi-hats that are a little off. So if we wanted to, we could say, you can see here this hi-hat played, but let's say, no, delete that, and we'll put it somewhere else, right? We'll put it over here. You can hear it throws it all off, but it's a cool little feature. A lot easier to use than the, I don't know where it is right now, but the step editor or whatever you want to call it on the MPC sample. And I'm going to compare a lot to the MPC sample here because I find they're very different, but I like them and have my qualms with them for opposite issues, as we're going to get into. But it's really interesting how one is good at a certain thing, the other one's not, and the other's the opposite. So I'm going to erase that whole pattern, though. Let's just erase that. There we go. We just deleted that. So it shouldn't be playing. But see how it started on 3? So we'll do this. We'll hold shift play. Yeah, that should be better. There we go. It did get some of those little ghost notes, and I actually think we'll probably go in. Oh yeah, this is another thing. If you're in this section, I always just go to drop the volume, but you have to be in sound. Another, you know, we've got limited knobs and dials and things like that on here, so you have to be very intentional. And that, as I talk about with all the gear, things that break my flow when I'm working with a sampler are instant, like, negatives for me, and that's just for me. Again, I just want to point out, like, this is my workflow, but like having to remember if I'm in main to see the pattern, then to hit sound to change this, to change amplitude of the volume, that just, it's like, I just want to be able to adjust it really quickly. And other samplers have that issue too, but we're gonna just drop the volume here, and let's get record on. Let's see if that worked. So another thing, we've got quantize on. If we wanted to turn quantize off, we just hit timing and we can go to free. And I think we've got some swing on. Yeah, you can see there's little icons on the menu that help with knowing, like, okay, where am I and things like that. We've got some comments going, so real quick, I'll pause and we'll read through some comments. BG White said, I keep picking up the EP-133 and wanting to love it, but I find that it's not very intuitive, and trying to remember the shortcuts are tedious, or is tedious, not having spent a bunch of time. I'm right there with you. I do really enjoy it, though. That's the thing. I really enjoy it. Quesadillas de Medianoche says, I bought one and I just can't click with it yet. Totally get that. BG White says, I agree with the take having both the MPC sample and the K.O.II. They have their own issues and strengths, but equally just need intention for workflow. Yeah, we'll get into the comparison. And then Ninja, what's up? Good to see you. They say, I have the medieval one, and right now it's basically more of a very good drum machine as opposed to being a mini DAW that something like an SP is. Yeah, I can see that, because, well, I'll just say it, my biggest issue with it is honestly chopping and the sampling. And that's why it's the opposite of the MPC, because I think the MPC samples chop is just so fast. I mean, we just talked about it in the last live stream. So it's like, that's what I mean. It's like polar opposites. But then this really is a composer. Like, arranging on here is very fun and easy with the commits and stuff. So it's funny how it's like the polar opposite. It's just really funny. Levi, what's up? Levi has been a channel member for quite a long time. Appreciate it. And what's going on? How are you, Levi? You just got the EP-133 when I got it, right? I remember in the member video you were saying you got one. Are you still using it? Because that's what I want to know. Like, a lot of comments on that first video with it were like, had it, sold it. Somebody said they bought it 5 times, and finally it's like clicking with them. So I think it's very up to the user, like every user, to see. Levi says, I got one a while back. It hasn't clicked with me yet. Okay, I get that. I get that. Okay, so there's our drums. Now, I've got this sample, and I believe I have it set up a semitone. But that gets us to another little weird thing for me. And again, those that use the EP-133 and are big fans of it, if I'm missing something, please let me know in the chat, or if you're watching this back, because I definitely like this and would love some of these issues I have to be solved and stuff. So I'm not saying this is the only way to do it. This is just as I'm finding as I use it and stuff. So I want to chop this sample up, but first let's check the pitch. So if we're in sound, we've got to be in sound for this. You can see pitch. If it was straight on, this would not be lit up. But look, you can't see what pitch you're at, right? So there's 2 things you can do for that. You can hold shift, and then you can get a little more granular, but the knob has endpoints, so you can't go all the way. But you can see I'm up a semitone now. The other thing, you can set the fader to pitch and use the fader to go up and down. But that's what we're doing. So next up, we're gonna chop it. So this is where it gets a little weird. For me. So we only have the 12 pads, right? So we can chop up to 12. And you could do manual chops, but there's the auto chop. That's what I'm going to do. So we're just going to hit chop. It's telling us what's available. I'm just going to put it there. All right, I'm already hearing something cool. So that kind of defeats what I'm talking about. But see, it's like we're limited there. And then if we wanted to go in and trim the sounds, we have to go in shift sound, which is the edit. And then there's a trim, and you could do that for all of them. It's just not the most intuitive for me. But let me show you real quick. Let me see if I can grab my MPC sample. Because if you haven't watched the previous live stream that I did where I was talking all about this and the issues and the good things I find with the MPC, let me just show you really quickly the difference in how it approaches sample chops. Because I think that's the key thing here for me. So once this loads up, we'll get a sample. Let's see, let's go over here and see if we can find like a long sample. I think that is a long sample because it's taking a minute to load. While it does that, let me read through some chats. Where are we? Quesadilla says, I do think it is a cool gadget, but it is just an accessory and a greater setup, too far from being a protagonist. I can see that totally. What else we got? Levi says, yeah, we got one at the same time. I really want to try that little Casio thing too. Has that ever come out in the US? I thought that was only Japan. The, what is it? SXC1, right? Or SCX1? I forget. I tried it. Damn, it was pretty cool. Okay, so we have a big chop here, and this is where I actually find a screen pretty useful, and it's the same on the SP, but even more so on the MPC. So we have a sample. I don't know if you can hear that on the microphone, but all we do is hit chop, right? And immediately we have all kinds of chops from threshold, but we can also go in and set all sorts of regions or do manual chopping. And so this is like sorry if that was blurred out, but hopefully you can see that we're live, so you know we got to deal with some simplistic camera angle and stuff. But anyways, that's the big difference for me, and that's where I find this. I don't think for like long samples this is ideal, but for one shots and just like chopping, not chopping, but like jamming and playing songs and building sequences, it's awesome. So we got the bad out of the way already, but the first good was just how immediate the sounds are and the pads and playing one shots. It's really fun to just start writing. Quesadilla says the MPC sample when it came out just gave the fatality, flawless victory to the K.O.II. K.O.II was kind of dominating the portable sample niche market, but then, yeah, okay. I still wanted to try this because I felt like it was the missing piece in my like small budget sampler thing. And I meant to have the P-033 here, but my son was using it, so I couldn't grab it. Okay, we've got this. Let's play those drums. And by the way, if my voice is quieter than this, just let me know, because I can't really see the audio as I do this, but I can change volumes and stuff. So I appreciate the mix heads up if it needs it. Okay. So we got to hit main so we can see the pattern running. That's what the small screen, just like the P6, we run into these things. Oh, I kind of like that. I'll tell you what, let's record that in. Oh, it's 4 bars. Okay, cool. So we could, if we wanted to, right? We've got a solid 2 bars. So what we could do is be lazy and say, you know what? Make this group 2 bars, but keep this group 4 bars. I love that. We've got individual patterns, right? Yeah, the burial beat. Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that, Old Head Studios, because one of the things that I do miss on this compared to something like the SP is much more effects and sound design. I believe you can only use the one main like effects send or whatever for the individual ones. You can, for all of these groups, I should say, at the same time. I don't think you can have individual effects per group. You do get the performance effects, but what I would love, right? Like, I know it needs that kind of like vinyl sound underneath, and there is that effect, but that's on everything, and I'd have to, I don't know if like the P-033 you can bake those performance effects in, and we could resample, but I haven't even tried it on here because I think you have to go in and change the microphone or the input to resample and all that, and so there's just weird like little movements that I think you can get. And BG White says mix sounds good. Awesome, thank you. Like, I think you can totally come to understand this, and it's so approachable for most things. But I just want to point out the weird things, the bad things, the good things. But there we go. Because, like, okay, I've got the SP just off screen, right? So if I were to do, like, here, we've got 303 sim on. Add a little noise. Wow and flutter. And then maybe we put cassette sim on the other bus. Here, let me see if I can move this over so you guys can see. Hold up. There's the SP. Okay, so we have so many more options, right, with this. Like, we've got 303 on bus 1 and cassette sim on bus 2. But on the SP, I could set drums to bus 2 and have that, like, gritty distortion and stuff. And then this bus could have delay on it. I don't believe we can do that on here. So I'm going to shut off those effects because this is about the EP-133, not about the SP. And we'll just try and get the SP right off screen there for a second. Okay. But yeah, that's something I run into quite a lot because, like, I would love these drums to be a lot dirtier without having to resample, just to, like, put on the distortion maybe on here, you know, and have that. I think this is now going to apply to everything that we set the effects to. So I'm going to have that off. But yeah, those drums are just too clean for me. You guys know me. I like a lot of grit. And yeah, if I use the delay for the effect for the group D, then I'm kind of screwed on using it for something else. All right, so let's go. We've got our sample. Let's put on an effect though. Let's do maybe delay, and we'll up the effect. Let's try reverb. The reverb's actually kind of decent, honestly. But I think we'll do delay. Let's see what else we got, though. Distortion. Chorus. The compressor. But yeah, I think we'll do delay. Now, okay, something else if we wanted to. We might need it for something else, but we do have attack and release for every sample. So we've got that. A couple more chats before we go to the next sound. Well, let's see. Be jamming since birth. What's going on? Hope you've been doing well. Good to see you. Says, yeah, I'm not a fan of the EP-133, but I do like the compression in it. Oh, that's good to know. I like the SP for effects, but the MPC sample more for making music. See, that's what I mean. Everybody's got different things. I actually find I like the MPC for chopping. I like this for making music, but then I like the SP for everything. I still think the SP is probably the best of all of them for me. I know it's a complicated piece of gear and stuff, but like, as we'll get to probably, the MPC, I run out of gas with the MPC when it comes to sequencing, because I like sequencing from taking a single pattern. I love the MPC till we make that first pattern. Once we've got the idea built, the way I work is I then take that single idea and move it across a bunch of patterns and make changes and stuff. I don't find with that shift erase being copy, the MPC being very intuitive for that for me. And then deleting sounds is just kind of convoluted. Whereas on the SP, you can just copy a pattern and choose what sounds move over. And on here, you can just commit. And then you've got that whole pattern as a new pattern that you can just make changes to. So I like that. What else we got? Old Head Studio says, I like using the K.O.II, for instance, to make the main beat for 2 of the 7 tracks on an EP. So you make a 7-track EP, is that what you're saying? It adds a different vibe and especially effects from the MPC or the circuit rhythm. Not every song, but as a refresh to the ears. Nice, that works. BJ Amundsen's Birth says, it's got a nice sound, but I don't care for the workflow. I'm assuming that's with the EP, you mean? Yeah, I can get that. Okay, so we're gonna take this drone. I released a new sample pack called Drone Days. It's all drones from my analog synths over there with a ton of effects. Just long drones that you can just use for background textures, but also for like pads, which is what we're gonna do. But there's that click at the start, right? Because I sampled this in, I didn't load it in or anything like that. So we can go over to our sound and go to envelope, and then here we have attack. May actually want to trim that, honestly, and a little release. Let's go in though and actually trim that sound. So that would be back on sound. We'll go to trim. There we go. So we just took out that whole start. Perfect. Okay, so if we then go into keys, we've got that. So let's see what we got with this. Okay, so that chord's sounding a little wonky. Let me see if we go back to trim. I just always like to experiment. Make sure too that we're not, I forget how to make sure we're not in some weird, yeah, okay, here we go. So we want to make sure we're in the 12 tone, not a key. Alright, yeah. So this one may not work. I just wanted to see if we could get like a pad on top. But we already have a bass because of the sample, which is convenient. So this chord works. Oh, that works. Yep, we'll do that. Okay, perfect. So let's go back into main and play that. Perfect. Now the drums, oh nice, Bejamin Since Birth said they got a tone verc. Yeah, that looks cool. I've heard differing opinions on that, so that's cool to see. That's cool to see, because yeah, I'm glad to see you're enjoying it. I love the Digitact 1, and at some point I really want to get the Digitact 2. So yeah, but the tone verc does look really cool. What about it are you really vibing with? Okay, so let's add some more. You know what we're gonna do actually? I think we've got a solid start to this idea, right? We've got a pad, we've got drums, we've got that. So let's commit this. And I don't know why that jumped all the way to another scene. Oh, I just have random ideas. Okay, so we're gonna start with this scene 5. So if we need to move back and forth, we've got it. Let's commit this again. So now, okay, we have 2 completely different scenes, which really are like the patterns. It's a whole different jargon with like how these things, like, really it's patterns on the SP, and you're just switching between those. But they call them scenes because you've got projects, and every sampler's got its quirks and way of working, right? So we'll call it scenes because that's what they're calling it. So scene 5 and scene 6, right? Same thing, but we could go in and say, you know what? I want to get rid of that. Well, let's just record something random because I don't want to delete any of the stuff we have. Let's go in and just record this terrible sound, right? That's going to sound horrible, right? But now look, if we go back to scene 5, it's not there. So that's awesome because we can make all kinds of changes. Now I'm going to delete that because we do not want that sound. So in here, I think, let's find some extra sounds. Let's do like, I don't know, let's see what else they've got here. Let's see if we do like those 2 sounds, and let's find like a good hi-hat. Also, these pads, I do not find them really good for playing fast. It just like gets stuck. So that's a bit of a bummer. I think there's a way to do like a repeating thing, but I don't remember, and I don't really care enough to know. But let's just let's play this. Let's turn off the record. Yeah, let's record that in. So now we're strengthening that, and then yeah, let's do that too. Why not? See, the quantize The quantize got us because we've got quantize on. So let's erase this from the pattern. Now it should be gone. This also sounds like a click track, and I do not like that. So let's, oh, see, we got to hit sound so we can change the pitch. Oh, it sounds like a cowbell when we drop it. Okay, so that's really loud. And let's turn off that quantize, because I want this one to just kind of see what happens when we record it. The accountant's calculator. That's a good way to put it, Rondo. Alright, let's just see what we get with it. Okay, so I like that, just quiet. Oh, see, again, we're on the in. There we go. All right, and so we have those performance effects on top. We've got that classic SP stutter. And this kind of beat repeat. It's fun. All right, let's get out of the keyboard here. Let's find like a, I don't know if it'll fit, but let's find a little synth sound. And we'll talk, probably one of my bigger issues with this is, and this is a personal thing, I came from the SP and the MPC with the 4 pads each. So when I think of keys and playing keys on here, it's a whole different workflow with 3 keys each. You do get scales, but I always work out of scales. I borrow chords through, chromatic medians, borrow chords and stuff like that. And so typically I need a chromatic keyboard. And so my brain just cannot connect with this 3 pad. It just like is off for me. So melodies are just kind of weird. And then I don't know if there's a way to go up in pitch on a sample, like if you're playing these keys, right? This one, like if I wanted to go up or down an octave, I'm not sure I can. So if anybody knows that, let me know. Ninja says, someone said they brought it into their office and no one even knew it was a sampler. I mean, honestly, I think almost any sampler can work like that. But yeah, this one for sure, especially with like the colors and stuff, and the like simple text screen. Doing taxes on those beats, yeah. That's funny. Let's see. Old Head Studio says, I put it next to my model cycle so it looks like I'm doing my taxes in an MRI machine. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, see, that sounds not gonna hurt. And that one's... Almost. Let's see. Oh, that could work. Like some like. You know what? Let's just record it. Totally forgot what it was. I think it was enter 945, right? See, it sounds like we're doing taxes. Okay, so if we wanted to correct the timing of that, we could do this shift timing, and then, to my knowledge, to time correct, you press play with record on and hold the note or the sample that you want to time correct, and then you can set what the time correction is, like 16th, triplets, all that. We're not going to do that. And again, here, like, I would love to have additional effects. I'd have to resample, get a reverb on there, all that sort of stuff. So really, it's like having a good sample source for what you're going to use. Was it that sound? Let's go ahead and see. That's 502. So we had to change the reverb, or the effect to reverb. But I like that. I think that works. All right, so real quick, everybody that has an EP-133 or has used it, did you keep it or did you sell it and get something else? And what did you find you prefer more? Because that kind of gets us to where I want to go after we do a couple more things. One other thing I want to do with, I'm going to commit this one more time. And I'm going to clear these drums because I just want to test something. I kind of want to do that like halftime thing. BJamin's birth said, I returned the EP-133. Didn't you also sell the SP like 5 times? Right? Wasn't that you? That's like sold. I had someone, no joke, I had someone in the tried learning this in one sitting video said they sold this 5 different times and bought it every time because they felt like something was missing, and then it finally clicked for them and they're like, I don't think I could use another sampler or something like that. Which is crazy, but I want to say to you, right, that sells the SP like a few times. I get it. Everybody's workflow is different, but yeah, I do remember that because, yeah, I mean, it's funny how there's something about certain gear that we keep trying to come back to because it's like it pulls us, like it's, oh yeah, that could work, you know? Okay, 4 times. BJamin's birth says, yeah, I get that. No, so, but it's like these things, they always kind of, I don't know if it's like, what is it, rose tinted glasses or whatever, but we think back to it and we're like, oh, actually that worked for that, and then but then you run into the things that stalled you out on it. So yeah. Old Head Studio says, there's a couple, let me get to all those, but Old Head Studio says, kept mine, I barely touch it in the studio, but every once in a while I grab it and go sit under a tree. Yeah, I still wish it had an internal battery. It drives me crazy it's AAA's or something under there, because I love the internal batteries, just I don't have to think about separate batteries and stuff like that. BG White says, I still have mine, but I also don't like sending things back or selling them. I'm right there with you. That's me. There's gear I would sell back. Like, I'd sell the circuit tracks back. I never use it anymore. But at least it's found its place with my son. He loves to just play around with the circuit tracks, so that works. Who else we have? Marco Silva says, select the melodic sound, go to key mode, press timing, and play a chord. Does it arpeggiate? Yeah, there is an arpeggiator on here, right? I haven't tried it. This is, I believe, the most recent update. I do think I updated it because I have the sample rates and the USB audio. Even though we're not using that now, I wanted to go into the SP so I had headphones. But let's check that. Let's get a sound over on that one. Okay, so what were we doing? And yeah, Marco, I know, or Marcos, I know you could, Marco, right? I know you could do a power bank, but that's an extra thing. And it totally works. I have one. I used to use it with the SP and stuff. And the SP has that problem too. It just, the more I get into like portable samplers and stuff, the more I love just having one thing. Like if I just want to go jam, I'll just grab the P6, or I don't want my iPad to fall, but I just grab the MPC to go outside because it's like all internal. So that's just me. And you could totally get a power bank and all that stuff. So that's just for me personally where I'm at. Okay, what was that thing Marco said? Select the melodic sound. Go to key mode. Is that holding key? Press timing. Maybe I'm missing something. Anyways, it's okay. I don't need that right now. But I could hear like... There could be a cool arpeggio on there. But anyways, I do want to do that drum thing. I'm getting, because of everybody's comments, I'm getting caught up. Let's do some drums real quick. Yeah, let's do something like that. Okay. Now that's not quantized. So we could go in, I heard a couple, you can see what's cool. I do like this too. When you do the step editor, if you're off time with things, you can actually see the like degrees that it's off. Like right there. Oh, what was that? That. I think it was that one. Can we do like, I'll tell you what, we'll just quantize the hi-hat and keep everything else off. I think this is how we do it, yeah. Cool. Okay, so we've got our little halftime drop. And I almost wonder, let's set, oh, let's get out of time correct. Hold up. See, this is what I mean though, to get out of things, I want to just move and it like stays in those menus. And so that's just a thing for me. Let's go in here, let's set the fader to level and drop this down. Yeah, okay, so for this scene, we are going to delete the samples. So we have this kind of like halftime groove. Yeah, I like that. And maybe let's get a bass. That should work. Wait, Marco, are you saying it just tap keys so you can play as a piano? Are you talking just chromatic mode or the arpeggiator? All right, let's go through some chat before I record this bass. So Old Head Studio says, I have a USB-C battery that keeps me going for like 10 to 12 hours. Totally, yeah, I hate bringing extra stuff. It's just, like if I'm traveling, it's with my kids, my bag's full of toys and stuff like that. So the less I have to bring, the better. And usually I don't even have much, if any, time to use these. So it's like, I'd rather bring less. Ninja says, I'm keeping the Medieval. I've only ever sold one thing, a Juno 60 about a decade ago. That's crazy to sell that one, but cool. Let's see. Is that I Need Prada says, still figuring out some ins and outs on my EP-40, but it's a great tool. Been trying to transition away from cooking up on Logic on my computer for the past 10 years. Really love my pocket operators too. Yeah, I go back to Logic when I mix. So, I mean, I make the stuff on here and then I just mix in Logic and add MIDI and stuff because the stem splitting is awesome. Let's see what else we got. B. Jameson's Birth says, I just take my MacBook Pro out. Better sounds, better instruments. That works. I don't like doing that. I can't stand the blank pattern and just having so many options. I would much rather be limited and find creative workarounds, because that's what gets me inspired to make music, is like just being stuck with certain things and being like, well, how can I make that work? I don't know. I just find that fun. Sometimes you need to have the laptop or the desktop, but when I'm just creating like jams and stuff, I like to do it with hardware. It's just so much more inspiring having a tactile response. And I think it was Abby posted a question asking MPC sample this or Koala. And I said I'd talk about it, so I do want to talk about that real quick, because like I was saying, I'm split between the two. Like, I would much rather compose. Like you can see, we've already made multiple patterns on here super easily without even thinking about it. So like the composer angle, EP-133, the chopping, MPC, but Koala for $5 or like 20 if you update. I mean, that thing is insanely powerful as your phone is, right? But there's no hardware. And yeah, you can get MIDI and all that stuff. But those are third party and you have to do the MIDI syncs and all that. It depends on your goals, right? Like B. Jamison's Birth is saying they'd love to just use Ableton and make everything in Ableton. That works if you like that workflow. But for me, like I just get bored staring at a screen and looking at this horizontal what is it? You know, timeline of your sounds and stuff. I'd much rather be in the flow and be like, I'm going to switch to this pattern. Now I'm going to do this. Now I'm going to do that. That's just for me what I want. And so Koala, you kind of have that, but it's a touch screen and all that. So it just depends what works for you. So yeah. All right. What else do we have? Let's see. I need Prada. For me, pocket operators are hard to beat for seriously portable beat making. Yes, EP series is like a huge upgrade from them, though. Yeah, I'm still trying to find a true heir or replacement for my P-033. I thought it would be the Woo box, then I thought it would be this, and it's still just. This one is close, but I just have, as we've talked about, I have my little issues with it and stuff. Let's see. A Quiet Garden says, I've bought this 3 times, sold the first one, then bought 2. Now considering to sell the 2. I agree with B. Jaminson's birth on taking my MacBook Pro out. Plus, I got an OP1 field last week. Yeah, so it all depends. That's what it is. It's like, but you don't know until you try these things. I don't like gear acquisition syndrome. And I held off on buying this for 3 years because of that. But I finally was like, I want to see if this fits. There's certain things from the videos I've seen that looks interesting. Let me see if it works. And I do find, like, for the composing angle of it, I do really actually vibe with it. It's just chopping and then some design quirks that just aren't gelling. But some of that could come with time. Let's see what else we got. I Need Prada says, not gonna lie, I make sound patches and take all kind of sounds I've made in Logic to my EP-40. Yeah, that's the way to do it. I will make samples. A lot of my sample packs come from Logic, where I build like, what's it called? Like old vinyl sounding jazz records, like using effects and all that stuff. And then I sample those. So it's like, if I can go in with purpose in the DAW, I have no problem with it. But actually making songs, I would much rather compose, start here or start on another sampler. And then when I finish the jam, like jam into the DAW, stem split it, because I don't want to deal with, you know, most of them don't have multi-track audio, but then if I need to mix more, I stem split it, and then I can add MIDI. Then I'm like, I've got intent and purpose in the DAW, and I can be like, okay, I need a Prophet, so I'll use Repro, you know, and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the way it goes. And I love sampling, and like all the artifacts and stuff with the, like, just dropping pitch on a sampler. It's just, I don't know, you just can't get it with the DAW. It's too perfect sometimes, you know. Okay, so there's our little, let's see if we can find like a, that's too low. I kind of want a bass, but then I'm like, eh. Lost Classic says, just joining so you don't like it. Not at all. I have my issues, but I do like it a lot too. It seems like most samplers, I have my issues, and then it's whether it's worth using despite those. And you can watch back Lost Classic to catch the rest when it's done. There's a lot to love here, but I have some issues with some of the design choices, quirks, whatever. Like for my workflow, it just doesn't quite gel. But the actual composing angle of it, I think, is actually pretty hard to beat. It's really fast and intuitive. There it is. Okay, we'll just keep a simple bass and record that in. Now it's the wrong note again. What? Okay, so we can just go in though. Where's that note? All right, by you. Let's go. Okay, that'll work. So let's go here. Okay, cool. And then we're just gonna drop. That works though. And we'll just bring that level down a little bit. Okay, and then we can go into our scene. That's the one without the... Oh, what happened to this? Is this... Don't tell me this is just gone. Did we lose our... Did I make a mistake while live and forget? Yeah, I think we did lose that... Well, that's a bummer. I must have, when I cleared it, it cleared every pattern or something. It shouldn't have. And yet, here we are. Another weird quirk, right? Why am I using quantize off? I turned it off when I did the hi-hats. And I prefer certain sounds to be... Or when I did that second drum, if maybe you didn't catch the beginning, Marco, but if you watch back, I had quantize on for most of the original stuff. I take it off when I want to do like halftime grooves because I want it to be a little wonky. I need processes. I low-key haven't figured out how to turn quantize on. But it's really easy. Let me show you real quick. Hit timing and see how free is flashing. Just hit the minus and you've got quantize on. Hit the plus and you're on free. So hopefully that helps. Let's see. So I think that's... Oh yeah, we lost our sample. I don't know where in that. I must have somehow deleted... It looks like maybe we deleted... No, they're there. So hold up. That's bizarre. We've just like lost the sample. So let's go 46. That is strange. What scene are we in? Let's go back. Okay, I'm stumped on this one. Maybe I have the groups muted. I thought I did, didn't. Oh yeah, it does flash mute. So I don't know how we unmute. That's one of the things. I've never actually done the mute, right? So, Marco, if you know, let me know. Because the levels are up. Got the level up. And it's saying the sample's there. And then when we change sample, it's gone. So I think we are muted because it's flashing, right? But I forget how we unmute. Yeah, mute is blinking, reason beat. There's a latency. So when I say these things, you hear it in a second. So I'll wait for you guys if you know how to unmute. Because I do think I muted them. So let me know how to unmute. Change fader level. Already did multiple times. Fader level all the way up. Still not there. So, anyways, not the biggest deal. I think we also lost that piano, didn't we? Oh no, that's a different... There we go. So we still have the piano. And all those cool little sounds. But I do want to get that sample back. So if you've got something... I've done this mistake as well. I think it's something with holding the group and messing with the fader. Well, let's look what else we've done. Maybe we did something else with this one. I see mute flashing though, so like I don't know why that was. It is muted. We may have to look this up. Erase fader. Okay, do we hit this? Oh, it looks like it. There it is. Nice job, Reason B. Awesome. See, teamwork. Perfect. Okay, so let's go back. There's our halftime. And then we could go into that. Now the basses are different and all that. I'm just kind of building ideas, and then I would flesh this out later. I just wanted to show like this idea of committing and then building additional sounds and changing things. It's awesome. We could even do like a refrain where maybe we take this and just drop out the drums completely, right? Now hopefully I don't mess this one up. But let's clear this. And then if we hit play, there's our sound. And then we could go back to scene 6 when the drums come in. And now we can do the fader thing, right? Like if we set this to level. So there's all kinds of cool things with that. Okay, so I just wanted to show what I really like about it, that committing and being able to make changes. And thankfully, Reason Beat had that the solve for that mute thing. I'm going to have to watch back and see how I did that, because I don't know how I did that somewhere, but somehow we got there. Cause yeah, so good to know. Okay, so let's go back through some chat. There's been a lot of chat, and then I do want to read through a couple comments from that EP-133 video I did. By the way, the samples that I make in this will be up for channel members at the Solar Sailor tier. I put up all the samples from videos in that, and then there's also additional live streams and all sorts of things like that. So if you do want to help support the channel, that is the best way. But yeah, hanging out is always more than enough, so it's all good either way. All right, I need Prada says, I agree with mixing. I may have missed some other ones. Hold on, let me go up a bit. No, I think we're good from there. Okay, let's see. I need Prada says, I agree with mixing and mastering down on Logic, though. These DAW-less devices are great to get a project going, and it's fun to bridge the gap between the limitations here versus unlimited nature. Yeah, it looks like you and I share similar thinking in how we approach the beat making and things. So Lost Classic says, sure thing, I had the SP404 Mark II, but sold it because I'd already found my flow with this. That works. Then they upgraded the EP with the 2.5 update, and it bridges the gap a bit more. Definitely, yeah. I waited until that latest update, and I was like, I think it's time to finally check this out. Lost Classics continues. One thing I like about this over the SP is how you can combine effects by clicking more than one at the same time. Yeah, that's the, you're talking the performance effects, right? I mean, I honestly, with effects, I much prefer the SP. There's more, and the 4 bus effects plus the input effect, being able to switch all of those. Because, like, I would love, I think I said it before, but I would love, like, my, that little piano and this to be, like, reverbed out, and then I'd love to have delay on the melodic sample. Like this, I'd love to have delay, but I don't think you can do that. There's only the one send effect, I think. But hey, see, that's what I mean. Different workflows for everybody. It makes total sense. Let's see what else we got. Let me see where else we're at. Okay, I Need Prada says, whoa, Lost Classic, you sold the SP404 to acquire this. Yeah, that's crazy. All right, what else we got? Or you sold it after. Oh, to buy your girlfriend a laptop. That's very nice. That's very nice of you. But Reason B says, glad to help. Maybe you recorded the fader as automation, so erase deletes those automations. Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know you could actually just like erase the fader. That's a huge bit of knowledge to know. So thanks for that. That's awesome. And Ninja says, I wouldn't sell my SP to buy my wife anything. All right. Okay, so I think we're basically done. So let me see if I can pull up, I've got my iPad here. I want to just pull up some of the comments because I thought this was really interesting how like seemingly divided this was on the EP-133 and like where everybody was with it. So, oh yeah, and the other thing, I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is probably the easiest way I can do it. Someone said, multiple people were saying I should have bought the Rhythm, I think that's the EP-40. And I'm curious if you guys agree or think differently. I think they were saying because it has that built-in synth, which I didn't actually know. And, you know, because I use Sound Generator so much on the SP. But I like what it's BXNJAC says. Further than that, that said, I'd say the main benefit that out of all the samplers out there, the K.O.II is definitely the best all caps composer for arranging and composing songs. I kind of agree with that to a degree. Like it is very intuitive. I still think maybe it's just time bias or whatever, but I still prefer sequencing songs on the SP for now, like building it up and stuff like that. And then they say, and a unique feature very overlooked is ability to compose at 3/4. I think a lot of samplers can compose in those time signatures, but like the SP can't do 8th note time signatures, like 11/8, 6/8, things like that. I love I go to 11/8 first. That's like the most difficult time signature. But I don't know if this one can. Let's see what else we got though. Oh yeah, here. Nopasaur says, I'm weird since the release. I have had 5 EP-133s bought and sold, bought and sold. The last update gave me what I always wanted, so I bought it for the last time. I don't think I'll sell this one. I always miss it when it's gone. I finally came to grips that it's a classic and must have at this point. Another one, now this I find really interesting. Ride On says, the best part of the K.O.II is the sequencer for me. The ease of scrolling through steps, deleting, adding, moving notes, using non-standard time signatures is really freeing. Now, see, that's what we keep coming back to this whole stream, the different workflows for everybody. I find, honestly, the step editor is like my least favorite part. It's much better than the MPCs. I never use the MPCs. This one I will use once in a while, but it's probably my like least favorite part of it. MKKRT says, I bought mine a month ago, love the immediacy and ease of use. Limited storage is a minus, but the online sample tool helps with archiving. Gonna sell my 404 Mark II. It was never fun for me. Crazy. Now this one I gotta try because I haven't really messed with resample much. But Set Zero Music says one of the best new features that you might like considering your style of music is the ability to resample at the low sample rate. You can get a really awesome pad sequence built in. Yeah, see, I still gotta mess with resample. I think that's huge. Let's see what else we've got. Oh, here, another one. See Here Play. I had to sell mine as I found it very intuitive. The thing about any hardware is applying your unique workflow and thought pattern to it. Exactly. I found the Electron process much more logical. So there we go. Someone else. Bonkers not to buy the Rhythm, which is more fully featured. So, yeah. Hold to sample was always a head scratcher. Yeah, so I found the way to solve that. I don't know why it's not default, but if you hold Shift when you sample in, or I think it's you hit shift record and then the one you're doing, but it's something to the effect of holding shift when you're choosing where you sample in. That will record it when it hits the threshold instead of you having to hold the note. Because like playing guitar, you can't hold it and play guitar. I was lucky in that video I was able to use the microcosm and just latch the sound. But yeah. Okay, let's see what else we've got. Marco says, I have that one and the medieval as well. Let's see. B. Jameson's birth. I'm waiting to see if they enhance the SP404 Mark II more. I don't know if they even can. It's crazy. Oh yeah, there's sidechain on here. I totally forget how we get to it. It might be an output. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so we'll set it to. Let's see. Okay, so I forget. I think we have to set the kick, which is this one, and then mute the rest. Man, I forget all this stuff. I barely mess with it. There it is. Sounds like it's not sidechain. I'm probably missing something, but there is sidechain. It's a MIDI sidechain, so it's not based on a threshold. It's actually like if you set it to this kick, then whenever that kick is triggered as a MIDI note, like when it plays that kick, everything gets sidechained and you set the shape and all that stuff. It's fine. It works. It's an interesting way to do it, but it does work. And yeah, I think the sidechain was added here first, I think, which is pretty awesome. Okay, back to the chat though. I want to read through these and then we're gonna finish up here. But Lost Classic, yeah, the pattern mode chaining on the SP pissed me off because you can't chain 2 pattern chains. Someone else, or it might have been you a long time ago, mentioned that. I had never ran into problems with that because you can make longer, you can make the patterns longer and longer for like really long things. I can understand that. Again, it's everybody's own workflow, but I've just never run into that. Cresset says Rhythm is better. I now have 2, plus 2 K.O.II.s, plus a sidekick. Interesting, yeah. So why do you like it better though? I'm curious. Because everybody says it, and then one person was like, "You'd like it because there's a synth, but it's not really game changing." So I'm curious what it is. B. Jamison's birth says, "I want the poly end mass pedal or mess pedal." Is that the one that is like the AI one that you can program, or is that a different one? Let's see what else we've got. Best of both worlds. This is Lost Classic. Compose the song on EP, then run it through the SP for the SP sauce. But I did love the Mark II. Do you have the SX as well? I almost bought the OG SP instead of this. I really at some point want to get like all the SPs, and that would have been the start. But I was like, you know, it's okay. All right, let's see what else we've got. Ninja says they absolutely can improve the SP404. They need to give it polyphonic pad playback for TRX mode. Yeah, that's true. It sort of has it, but it's not reliable and a pain. Yeah. Oh, the mess is the 4 pedals in one. Yeah, okay. That one does look cool. And I think they have like a drum pedal, and then there is like an AI one or something. I remember seeing that, which is crazy. Yeah, so all right. So that's where I've landed with the EP-133 so far. I think at some point I do want to revisit it again as I use it more. The title's true. Like, I really do want to love this, but I have a lot of sticking points. I think some of that will come or will solve with time as I get more into it. It's like, I don't want to compare it always to the SP because I've had the SP for 5 years. And so, like I was saying, there's a bit of time bias in the sense of like, you know, I can use that thing, like I know everything about moving around it for the way I want to work and stuff, whereas I'm still learning this one. I like the challenge though. That's what I do appreciate, is that it's really fun to use. It inspires me to want to make more things and create. I've made very different sounds on here. I find with every sampler, because of the workflow, I approach songwriting differently on it. So I make different kind of sounds and stuff like that. And the simplified kind of chopping makes me think a little differently. Like if we just, where is it? I think it's this one. I think that might be the same sample. And then there's this one. I think it's this one. Vocal samples? I never mess with vocal samples, you know? So yeah, it just gets me thinking in different ways, especially with the way the chop works. I don't really like chopping on here. And there are more ways I need to get into it. I need to mess with resampling and stuff too. But I find in terms of building songs, it's a lot of fun. And that's why I'm going to stick with it for a bit and try it and learn it more and stuff. There's just weird quirks, you know, like needing to remember to move between these to make the different changes and stuff. And some of it's just growing pains or whatever you want to call it, like just learning the way it works. But some of it is just it's fundamentally kind of opposed to the way I work. So it's an interesting little contradiction for me. And so I'm excited to keep using it. I don't think it will ever become my main sampler, and I think like the effects really limit it for me, because a lot of what I want to do is a lot of effects and gridding things up. I find the sample rates don't really sample rate much. It does change the size for sure, but I found like the low sample rate hasn't really done it for me compared to especially like the P.O.33. That's what I mean. I've never found that true P.O.33 replacement. I'm still looking for it. All right, let's see what else we've got. Lost Classic says, yes, I have the SP404 SX still. Also, TR Rec on the Mark II makes it the P.O.33 true big brother. That's funny you say that right after I just said I haven't found the replacement. You're right on that, for sure. But it's so much more complex and stuff. Like sometimes I need something a little simpler just to like, and just have more easy. Look, it's muting again. I hope I didn't mute something. Maybe that's what I'm doing. Anyways, the sounds are playing, so we're good. That's a different song anyways. All right, let's see what else. Old Head Studio says, that's why I love the Circuit Tracks 2 onboard synths. Awesome, yeah, if it works for you, that's great. I found that limiting for me, and I started using MIDI, and then yeah, so it's good to have internal synths, though. That's something this is missing, which it sounds like maybe the EP-40 has, but I don't know. Maybe whoever has it can let me know. Is it polyphonic or is it monophonic only? What else we've got? I Need Prada. I believe the EP-40 offers 1 or 2 more different effects than the K.O.II in addition to the synths. I could be wrong. Oh, interesting. Ninja says EP-1320 has chicken samples and some guy being decapitated that can't be removed, which makes it the best. All right, if that works. I Need Prada. I like chopping more on the POs more than this thing, which really threw me off. I can understand that. The chopping I just don't really vibe with on this. What else we've got? Yeah, B. Jamison's birth. The P.O.33 sounds freaking amazing. Yeah, I know. Nothing comes close to that little like 8-bit, if it is 8-bit, whatever it is, but that crunchy just sound of it. It's just so grainy. So yeah, I love it. The P.O.33 is awesome. Like I said, I wanted to have it here. I had it for the video, but my son was using it this morning, so it's still in the house. What is that? Ali or Elise says, the silliness of the EP-1320 set me free. That's cool. Yeah, and I keep seeing about the Sidekick. I got to check that out. But I don't like to buy a lot of gear. Like I said, I think you need to try gear. There is a point to discovering what gear works. Because like someone said on one of my community posts, like, how many samplers do you need? And it's like, I mean, I'd love to have all of them. But I don't want to just buy a bunch of gear. I want to find the holes in my workflow, what I think can help it, and then see if it works. But I don't go out and buy a ton of different sounds. Like, you don't know what works until you try things, but there's no point. Most gear can do most things, right? Like, all I would really need is probably the SP, but then it's like, well, I want better chopping, so the MPC, and like I want more portability, something smaller that I can fit in a backpack, so that's where this comes into play. So there's reasons why I get all this stuff. I Need Prada says the P.O.33 is 16-bit. I've seen different things, and it might be the sample rate, not the bit rate. The sample rate might be really low on the P.O.33, but it has this distinct like low fidelity graininess. I remember I looked it up. I can't remember. I think it is like it's not bit rate, it's sample rate or something. No, okay, so it is 8-bit. Yeah, it's gritty and it sounds so good. I love the P.O.33, but it's so limited with the 4 voices and 40-second sample time and stuff like that. So it's like, I use the P.O.33 now to just send sounds in and send them back out. You know, that's usually what it is, just to get really gritty. I did a video with that where I used the P.O.33 for the sample and then made the beat on the SP. But yeah, so I think we're going to call it there. Awesome hanging out with you. If you've watched it all the way through, leave a comment when this ends. It helps tell YouTube that you like these live streams and let me know that you want me to do more live streams. We're doing them every other week now. So be sure to follow if you're not subscribed already. And yeah, if you want to help support the channel, check out the channel members. There's all kinds of benefits and stuff like that, vlogs, all that. But it's been awesome hanging out with you. Great to see all of you. And it was really good to hear everybody's thoughts on the EP-133, because it does seem like it's very divided. So it's interesting to see that I'm not alone in my kind of like conflicted feelings about it. But with that, we're going to call it. And thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.